Hello and welcome to our lesson. At today's lesson, we're looking at the words that we use when we talk about the media. The active vocabulary of our lesson is collocations and compound words with the word news, mass media, the active grammar material, singular and plural of nouns. So let's go into the intro by pointing out that media is a plural form. A traditional singular form is medium, but in today's English we can use media in both a plural and a singular way. So we can say the media are, or if we think about the media collectively, we can say the media is. It has become common nowadays to use both these forms. Mass media comprise newspapers, magazines, television and radio companies that reach large numbers of people and can influence what they do or think. Discussing newspapers, we'd like you to pay your attention to the use of the definite article with them. The newspapers are usually used with the definite article, The Times, The Guardian, The Sun, etc. Without article goes the newspaper Today and foreign newspapers, Комсомольская правда, for example. There are two main types of British newspapers, broadsheets and tabloids. Broadsheet means a quality newspaper. For example, in Britain, the broadsheets are generally believed to be more serious than the tabloids. Tabloid is yellow press. Its general definition is as follows: a type of popular newspaper with small pages which has many pictures and short simple reports. Examples: the tabloid press, a tabloid newspaper, a tabloid format. Information on the personal life of a film star is just the sort of story the tabloids love. Tabloids can definitely be viewed opposing to broadsheets due to their characteristics. Broadsheets report news in depth, national and international events, politics, business. They have a serious tone and a high-level language. The most popular broadsheets are The Independent, The Guardian, The Times, The Telegraph. In tabloids, news is reported in less depth. The level of language is lower, with more use of images. The life of celebrities and gossip is mostly being discussed. The popular tabloids are The Sun, The Mail, The Mirror, The Express. Now let's make an emphasis on what the news is. It's an uncountable noun. The first meaning is information about something that has happened recently. Example: great news. Tell me all your news. If you are making an announcement or want to tell somebody about something, you are telling him, her a good piece of news or an item of news. She's just told me an interesting piece of news. News usually goes with the words good or bad. Well, choose which news first, good or bad. The second meaning: reports of recent events in the newspapers or on the radio or television. Example: news is coming in of a terrorist attack in India. To be in the news means to be in the center of attention right now, to be discussed in media because of something. Angelina Jolie is in the news again. She's adopted an Ethiopian girl. Latest news means most recent, current news. Have you heard the latest news from the Olympic Games? To be front page news means to be interesting enough to be on the front page of a newspaper. The flood in China is the front page news today. To make the news, to become important enough to be reported in a newspaper or news program. The third meaning: the news, a regular television or radio program that gives you reports of recent events. On the news, it sounds unbelievable, but I heard it on the news last night. Let's turn to compound words with the word news. Newsletter, one or several sheets of printed news sent regularly to a particular group of people. Newsagent, someone who owns or works in a shop that sells newspapers and magazines. Newsreader, someone who reads the news on television or radio. Newsflash, a brief news report on radio or television, giving the most recent information about an important or unexpected event. News bulletin, a short news program on television or radio, often about something that has just happened, or a short newspaper printed by an organization. Newspaper, a regularly printed document consisting of news reports, articles, pictures, advertisements. Is the word news singular or plural? I'll definitely point out that there are words that end in s, but are commonly used in singular. They are physics, mathematics, optics, phonetics, politics, etc. As to the word news, it has a plural form, but in the sentence, its meaning is mostly singular. This was the news to me. What's the news? It's plural in the second example. So, news can be used in both a plural and a singular way. There are more words similar to news. Means, barracks, crossroads, headquarters, works, etc. They can be translated into Russian both as singular and plural. And now let's have a recap of our vocabulary. Today we learned mass media, newspapers, magazines, broadsheets, tabloids, news, a piece of news, an item of news, good news, bad news, to be in the news, latest news, to be the front page news, to make the news, on the news, compound words, newsletter, news agent, newsreader, news flash, news bulletin.